This video is going to be about the live tile control, which is one of the graphic controls you'll find in both the Mimic Designer and in the Application Designer in Status Enterprise. The live tile control actually leverages some of the other features of Status Enterprise to give you a way of adding a lot of value and functionality to your mimics without having to take a lot of design or engineering time. The way it works, it leverages the asset collections and the mimic templating features of Status Enterprise to allow you to visualize real-time data from multiple assets of the same type simultaneously, while also giving you a means of navigating to lower-level mimics that provide more details about a particular asset. There are three things that you're going to need to have in place to fully take advantage of the live tile control. The first thing you'll need is a typed collection of assets. If we look in my data model designer here, you'll see I have expanded in my asset tree over here a collection of water tanks that contains 9 different water tanks of the type water tank. The next thing that you're going to need to have is a mimic template for that particular type of asset. And if we look in my mimic designer here, I do have a template that I already created beforehand to display the data for my water tanks. The last thing that you're going to need is a tile template for that asset. This will be a mimic template that's created to display as a tile alongside the tiles of the other assets in the collection. In this case, I do have a water tank tile template that I already created in advance as well, and you'll see how that works soon. To use the live tile control, you're just going to want to create a new mimic, and this is a regular mimic, not a mimic template. I have one already here with a blank canvas in place for this demonstration. Over here in the toolbox, you're going to find under the data management section, and this is in both the Mimic Designer and Application Designer, you'll find the live tile control under data management. You simply drag the control onto your design surface, place it where you would like, size it how you would like. In this case, I'm going to size it to take up the entire canvas. And once you have your tile control placed on your design surface, you click on the Properties tab. And there are a number of different properties you can configure here to affect the way that the tile control looks. In this case, I'm just going to go straight down here to the Setup property and click on this button here. This will bring up my Configure Collection Properties dialog. And what I need to do here is select my asset path, which is the collection of assets, of typed assets that I want to display in the live tile control. The mimic right here is the tile mimic that will be used to display each individual asset alongside the others in runtime. And the third thing I'm going to configure is your mimic path. This is optional. You don't need to configure navigation for the live tile control, but it is one of the very useful features of it, so I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. For my asset path, I'm going to select my water tanks collection. For mimic, I will select the water tank tile template that I created, and down here for the panel navigation mimic path, I will select the water tank template mimic. One other thing you'll notice here, we do have these options for default icon documents and default documents. If you had defined a default icon in your data model designer for your water tanks, you could simply select this checkbox. You wouldn't need to select a mimic. Then in that case it would already be using the default icon that was assigned in your data model. Same thing down here. If you had a default document for displaying this particular type of asset, you wouldn't need to select the mimic path here. You simply check this checkbox and it would use the default document. I'm going to go ahead and run this so you can see what it looks like. And what we see are all 9 of the water tanks in that collection displayed alongside each other using that water tank tile template that I'd created. I created one template, one tile, and now I can use that same tile to display all 9 of these water tanks alongside each other. If I was to click on any of these, it will navigate to the mimic template that I have and display that particular asset. You'll see WT09. If I go back, I can do that for any of these. 4, 6, and the data that you're seeing here is associated with this particular asset. So even though we're looking at the same mimic template for any of these, because of the templating feature of Status Enterprise, you're actually able to view any asset in the collection using that same template. Another thing to note about this, if you were to add any water tanks to this collection, you don't need to come in and reconfigure your live tile control. It will automatically add another tile for the new asset, and it will automatically assign the navigation to that same template to display that new asset. Or if you were to remove a water tank, it's the same thing. And basically, that's it. It's an extremely useful tool, can save a tremendous amount of time. You design one screen, you can visualize as many assets as you would like of the same type using that same template.